this is a question that we get a lot because it gets really confused for people out there in society. So my tactics for socialization are in place because I want to make sure that my dog is well exposed to the wide world and neutral to the wild world. I do not want to create a dog that goes out there and goes, there's another dog. Oh, it's the best thing ever. Or that sees, oh, there's another person. Best thing ever. You know,
or there's a truck. I better chase it.
Exactly. Because you know what? My life is pretty busy when it comes to the things that my dogs are exposed to on a daily basis. So coming to McCann's every day, having all sorts of dogs around all the time, all sorts of people around, I literally would never get anywhere if my dog thought every single thing in person or dog in person was their play toy and the most exciting thing in the world. My dog would be in a constant state of overstimulation. I would never get anywhere. It wouldn't be healthy for either of us. What good socialization actually is. People misunderstand socialization. And we've actually done a full podcast episode on socialization that I think would be really enlightening for anybody who's like, huh? What are they talking about? I thought socialization just meant I let my dog play with other dogs.
Right. And it's named wrong. It shouldn't be called socialization. It should be called like exposure. Exposurization.
Yeah. I think that it used to be a much more reasonable thing as socialization, but our society has changed so much when it comes to the dogs, and we put so much emphasis on dog-to-dog play now, and dogs either being friendly or not friendly, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's got to be room for the dog to be able to exist without being put upon constantly by any person or dog. And so with a young puppy, you might have a dog that likes and appreciates other dogs in their space all the time. You might have a dog that stays that way for the entirety of their life. You know, if you've got a good old lab, for example, labs are usually pretty easygoing with so many things.
Yes.
They can be strong and powerful, so sometimes that makes them a little bit more challenging for training, but they're usually pretty bomb-proof when it comes to being social and when it comes to, you know, not showing aggression out there. So you might have a dog that through the whole entirety of their life is just really even in terms of temperament or really loves to play with other dogs, etc. But the overwhelming majority of dogs, as they get older, they get selective.
Yes.
So even well-socialized dogs who have no issues whatsoever and no sort of genetic temperament flaws that might predispose them to aggression, even those dogs, we want to make sure that we're providing them with the opportunity to have that selectiveness. So I don't want to ever have my dog expect that every single dog is going to be in their space. That's not how we do things at all. And that creates a neurotic dog too, right? A lot of the times we create our own reactivity issues and we create our own sort of, you know, aggression issues even sometimes with other dogs. Sometimes it's more of a genetic component than anything, but a lot of the times it's because we put our dogs into positions that we think they're going to appreciate and they truly don't appreciate.
Exactly, yes.
So,
yeah. And it's kind of back to that too. Young dogs love to play with each other in general, you know,
so let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so I think of it like myself. When I was a little kid, I liked playing with other kids and running about and having fun.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in my 20s, no, I'm in my 50s. Even a crowded grocery store bugs me now. Like I'll go into the grocery store and, you know, there's people around me and they're coming too close and everyone's in my way, and I find myself getting more aggravated with that.
You need better socialization. So I'm going to take you to all the grocery stores when they're the busiest. And I'm going to wheel you around in the cart and I'm going to make everybody interact with you.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's how our dogs get too. It's like, you know, when you're young, you're more gregarious and things bounce off you. But as our dogs get older, they're like us. It's like, I don't want to be at the grocery store Saturday morning at 11 a.m. with all the chaos.
Yeah.
I want to wander around the grocery store at 2 a.m. in the morning when there's no one there. So think of it like that. Like your 8-year-old dog doesn't want to get pounced on by 8-month-old Labradors.
Yeah, exactly. So socialization in and of itself being exposure, that means your dog doesn't actually have to interact with those other dogs to get good things from being exposed to them, which that's where I go for when I go for my socialization is, my dog's in class with me, for example, and there are 6 other puppies in that class. But the class is about my dog engaging with me. The class is about us working together. And sometimes that's a struggle because the other puppies are distracting. We do a play session with our Puppy Essentials class because we think it's important to have a little bit of play in there, but it is such a small percentage of the program.
Yes. And it's not just a free-for-all.
No.
We get the puppies to pay attention to us first.
Yes,
we give them permission to play. And then we end the play by us taking control in a positive fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that small play session is about exactly what you just said. It's about setting up a play session for success so that we can reinforce our skills. It's about letting the puppies have a little bit of play in a safe setting, right?
We know we match up puppies too.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to put a rough and tumble bull mastiff with a tiny little scared Sheltie because that's just terrifying, the little Sheltie. So I'm going to choose and pick and play. These are the puppies that are good. These are the puppies that will be good together.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing really wrong with any play styles, right? Like it's just different for different breeds. So your lab, as an example, is going to be a wrestler and a crash and banger. And, they're going to be body slamming and chasing down and rolling and tumbling with one another. If you have a Sheltie that's playing with that lab, the Sheltie's probably going, I hate this.
Right.
This is awful.
Right. I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of that being a good situation for the dog to just have this opportunity to play with anyone and everything, it can backfire twice as easily as it can work to your advantage. And I would say
it's showing too, the Sheltie's having a bad time. And the Labrador is ignoring the Sheltie's body language.
Yeah, and getting pumped up by this situation and getting rewarded.
It sees the Sheltie is afraid, but it's like, who cares? Let's pounce, pounce, pounce. And it's a no-win for both dogs.
It's true. And, as dogs, that reinforcement value for the lab is going to make that lab continue to want to bully because that was a rewarding thing for the dog to begin with.
Right.
So we don't want to set our dogs up for that situation at
and
all.
The poor Sheltie saying, like, is my owner truly have my back? Is my owner a leader? Because right now
I'm on my own.
They threw me to the wolves. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And that same situation, that lab playing with another lab who likes to crash and bang as equally, all you have to do in that scenario is assess, okay, is this getting over the top? Are these two dogs mutually enjoying each other? Is this getting over the top? Do I need to interrupt? Do I need to stop? Etc. Based on that mutual play versus, now I need to go in and wrangle this lab because the Sheltie is going to be traumatized for life. And, this whole scenario just is not great to work out.
And so, as a side note too, if you're using a daycare, be sure that the daycare employees understand dog behavior and can see these things happening. Because I see dogs go to daycares that should, it's a worst nightmare for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's definitely something that can be very trying for a lot of dogs. And I would say that play session in our Puppy Essentials class is not really about socialization.
No, it's not.
That play session is about letting the dogs have a little bit of fun and a little bit of a rip, seeing what kind of play styles they have, matching them with the right play styles so they can have mutually beneficial play, and working on some skills like call outs from that play as well. I would say the socialization actually happens all the rest of the time. When your puppy is working with you and focused on you and learning to do that despite those other puppies in the room. So they're learning to be indifferent about those puppies when there's this opportunity to engage with you. And that is a well-socialized dog.